There we go. All
Okay.
right. My usual question is, well, thank you for coming on and sharing part of your food and your culture. And my usual question is, why did you pick this particular recipe? What does it mean to you?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I picked this recipe today because it is one of my favorite dishes. As a person who went pescatarian when I was 11, this meal provided the option for me to eat foods that were both vegetarian based or pescatarian. So it's something I've very much enjoyed.
And still culturally, I mean, it still was part of your culture, right? I
It's
mean,
still part of my culture. It's very much olele, or as they say, olele is what we call it in Sierra Leone, is the steamed beans, very similar to what they have like tamales. It's very similar to tamales in the United States. That is steamed in corn, right? And then the other dish, which is called beans akara. Like the last time I was on, I did akara, but I did it with bananas, and it was a sweeter type of akara. This one is all savory, and it is beans akara, which we say beach for beans as opposed to beans akara. So we say beans akara. This one provides is a fried dish, and they go together, right? A third component that you usually see when you have beans akara, beans olele, you'll also have a pot of beans, like cooked beans in like a palm oil stew.
now the same type of beans or
And the same type of beans. You're using this bean three different
three
ways.
times. All right. I like that. Efficient.
Very much so. And you'll be using dried fish and and the bean stew that which is like a pot of beans. You'll also put things like ham hocks and turkey necks and things like that in there too, that's smoked. But I do mine a vegetarian version of it or a pescatarian version of it. Now all of these foods come together and they make what we call al jaw food or celebration food, right, in Sierra Leone. And so,
You
and
said
it's like
al jaw?
aljo, yes.
Like, I don't know. Yay, let's be jolly. Al jaw.
Yes, there's aljo a celebration, but it's like a celebration of life as well. Like meaning that we tend to do it during times of funeral rites and the like. So we'll have palm oil foods. We'll have foods that are cooked in palm oil. The beans akara will be cooked in palm oil. The olele would be cooked with palm oil. You'll have plantains that are cooked in palm oil and sweet potatoes as well that are cooked in palm oil. And so usually it's cooked on a Friday. So almost anywhere in Sierra Leone, you'll definitely see foods that are cooked. You'll have this dish on Fridays because that's kind of like a remembrance day. And so you'll be able to have it as a celebration.
There you go.
So I
And,
love it, because
and I mean, is black eyed peas something just everybody has in their cabinet all the time?
all the time.
So
Most
I grew up in the south of the US,
yes.
and black eyed peas are something we always do for New Year's for life and celebration and remembrance. So it's very interesting. Like it's a cultural thing in the south of the US. You
Yes.
have greens and black eyed peas and cornbread
Yeah.
and the basically that all that came from Africa
Mhm.
through the slaves to the south, and then it became part of Southern culture.
Pretty much, yes.
It's
And
very
like people
interesting.
do Hop and John, right? I guess for New Year's Eve and the like, and it's for prosperity as well. And so I definitely see the connections between the population, so the enslaved populations here, bringing some of those traditions over.
All
So
right. Um, Whoever just joined the cooking show, if you didn't actually look at the ingredients, you're not going to be able to cook because you we had to soak this overnight. Now, my black eyed peas, um, I actually did a rare thing last night. I went out partying and I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2:30, and I was like, I forgot to soak. I had bought the beans
mhm.
and they were in my vehicle, but I had forgot to soak. And so I put them in at 2 o'clock in the morning. I completely covered them with water. And when I woke up this morning, there was no water. It was soaked it all up. And then I filled it full of water again. And the second soaking now, because the first soaking was not enough to actually have the skins come off.
Mhm.
So, talk to me why you have to take the skins off, because I grew up, we always just cooked them, but I don't know any better.
Okay, so for Akara and for Olele, you definitely want to take the skins off, because you want it to be as white as possible. So so when you're cooking it, you only want the protein parts. You're not going to necessarily have the fibrous elements. When we do our beans, that it's over the on the stove top, the pot of beans or Binch, that we keep the skins on, and you cook it, and everything kind of reduces, and it gets really soft, and
Because they cook really soft really easily.
yes, it does. So that's for that purpose. But for this, to be able to get to a ground consistency that you would like to have, because you've got to grind it really fine. You've got to blend it really, really fine. You want to make sure the skins are off.
So most of mine, when I take the skin off, it still has the black part on it.
And you should take the black part off.
Okay, so even with all that soaking, I know you said you just squeeze it and it comes off. In mine, it's not doing that.
Right. So the best thing we can do is we can put it in the blender and do a quick blend, because at the end of the day, it's going to get blended anyway. But when you do like a quick blend of it, the skins fall off. So that's
So
a
like
quick
you're
way.
like cracking them,
Yes,
and then the skins float to the surface.
exactly.
So
Right.
you
So I'm
blend it with
going to show you what
water,
mine
then a
looks
lot
like.
of water. Yeah.
So this is my soaked overnight version. And so
Okay.
what I do is I just rub my hands like this, and you start seeing some of it coming off, floating to the top. And
Yep.
then you're going to have to blend that, right? I'm going to take my watch off because I feel like that's going to become a problem. Okay. Now, what you want it to look like is like this.
And I've spent like probably 45 minutes trying to.
It takes a long time, unfortunately. So the pre-prep is so important in this dish. So one of the things that we are going to do now is I'm going to show you how to do a quick removal of the skin, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
Okay.
So traditionally, I bet it's like all the grandmas are sitting down in a circle and doing this while they're gossiping.
And they can be, all the kids are doing it.
Oh, okay. Still gossiping. Yep.
Yes, exactly.
So,
So
but
I'm gonna get my blender here.
so you probably put like a lot of water in the blender, right?
Yes, please do. Definitely want to put a lot of water in there and make sure this is
Let's see here.
okay. So I'm just going to.
Now, a couple people on didn't soak theirs and they were going to try it with canned. What do you think of that?
I don't usually use canned because that's too soft and too mushy. It's
Okay.
absorbed too much water, but I would like for it to be tried so we can see what we can do. For the beans akara, it's you want it to be a little bit drier, without as much water or fluids in it. So the beans akara is probably going to be the toughest thing to work with a with canned.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I grew up cooking the dried, and I don't like the canned. For me, they're too mushy.
yes,
I feel like there's no texture to the canned black eyed peas.
right. Whereas, but for the olele, I would like to see how that works out, because honestly speaking, that can be softer, and it doesn't have to, and it has to be smooth, right? So I would like to see how that turns out. I think that would be very interesting to see.
Is that when you're trying to make kind of like a flour to make a ball to fry it? Is that what?
Yeah, so for the akara, it's fried, right? So you're going to make very similar to the rice akara, where it's kind of like a batter consistency, like a thick batter that you're going to plop in hot oil and fry so that it can get golden brown on the outside. That one, if you get it too liquid, it's just going to, it will just disintegrate in the oil. So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to do a quick pulse for, like maybe 5
And
seconds.
just to let you know, when it pulses, it actually turns the sound off. So if you're talking during it, we don't hear it.
Okay, so I'm gonna pulse for about 5 seconds or 5 times. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally Zoom turned it off. We didn't hear anything. It's interesting. Really loud sounds.
Well, that works then because I wasn't saying anything. I was just saying you pulse it 5 times, and here we go. And you'll see a lot of the skins are kind of floating on top. So what I am going to do is I am going to pour it in a bowl, and I'm going to have the skins float to the top, and we will discard of it of the skins. So you can scoop them up and toss them in the trash, or if you're going to use it, for I guess outdoors or what have you, you can still use them. So let me go ahead and get a bowl so I can remove it.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I just did a quick pulse and it's okay. Where's my thing? I've been using this little strainer.
Yeah. So you just strain it. You just take from the top, right? Add water and
Yeah, that got a lot of it.
it's so much easier, right? But it's so important for you to soak it over. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, even though I soaked it overnight, let's see. Well, technically I soaked it for what? 11 hours.
Yeah.
It's still not enough.
No. I do like about 24 hours, right?
So I'll definitely tell you that it needs to be soaked more than that.
Mm-hmm. But at least, yeah, so at least 12 hours, but you can add water to it. So that's the good thing. But you want it to swell,
They swell, but it's not enough to get the skin to come off.
to come off. Right, exactly. So then you have to go with Canby, which is the pulsing.
All right.
All right. So just keep on doing that. You know what? I'll work with you with this because then that way we're all on the same page if you have not done that yet. As I mentioned, I do have another one that
I
has
think
already
I got enough with that one batch.
for that. Okay, fantastic.
I did 2 bags because I always make too much.
And that's perfectly well. I will say this: I grew up in a family with 7, and oftentimes we would have people over for dinner and things like that. And so we would always cook a lot. There was always food at home. My mom really enjoyed entertaining, and so I have a really hard time on this, like knowing how to cook in small batches, and it's something that I had to learn.
Yeah, that's the one thing my mom was really good at teaching me how to do big batches
Yes,
of not really savory food, but healthy food.
but healthy. Yes. So we're going to just remove as much of the skin as possible. You want it as white as you possibly can get it, just getting the beans itself and not the skin or the black eye.
My problem is this blender is really strong,
Yes.
and so it's basically cracking the beans in half too while it does it.
Also, the chef pulsed 5 times, short 5 times.
What's that again?
Yes.
The chef pulsed 5 times, short pulses, but 5 times.
Yeah.
5 times. Yeah, very short pulses because you don't want to overblend it right now, but you just want to get the skin off.
There we
So
go.
I'm going to try to do as much as I possibly
That
can.
worked really good. Just quick, really short pulses.
Yes, very short pulses.
Look at all that skin. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to pour this out.
It made the top of the water really milky. But now we're pouring all the water out, right?
We are.
Okay.
You're pouring the water out and you're taking out whatever skins you see, try to take it out as much as possible. The good thing, one of the things I did want to show, hold on. And I'll do it here. Sorry, I'm off camera because I was at the sink, but I can show it to you here. All right. So sometimes because it floats to the top, you can just pour out and a lot of the skins come off as well.
Yeah, that's what I did when I had
Yeah.
I put plenty of water, so I filled it like half full of beans and then the rest with water. So I had like 4 inches
Yes,
of water, and when I poured that out, it was really milky and had a lot of skins in it.
exactly.
But if I look here, it still looks like there's a decent amount of skins in here. See?
Yeah, so you've got to try to get as much of it out as possible. You want it to look like this.
I think if I pour some water, it'll float to the surface here. Let me try that.
See the difference? So you have
Oh
this.
yeah. Like, but that's after you blended it completely.
Versus this. This is
Right.
the one I just blended. And so I'm still getting the skins out.
So you're trying to make it into a complete mush.
Yes, we're going to make it into a paste, like it's going to be so blended for both of them. But because the Akara does not need a lot of water in it, the amount of water that's already been soaked in there is how much water you actually need for the Akara mostly. We are you have to kind of drain, you should drain it a little bit, you know, just leave a little bit, like maybe a tablespoon or two of water remaining, but the amount of water that was soaked in there should be enough for the Akara. And so we're going to do both simultaneously, and then we're going to do the variation for the Olele. And I think that's going to take a lot less time.
Okay. So I've got edit.
And so instead of the blender, I'm going to use my food processor because I want to break it down first. When I put it in the blender, I have to add water to it.
Yeah, this is working good. Just putting like a couple inches of extra water on top, and then the
Yeah.
skins are just floating to the surface.
The surface.
And then I'm using this little strainer to pick them up.
Right. And I'm picking it mine, you know. So I just pick it. I'm picking it and taking the black eyes off, right? So
Yeah, see, there's a lot of the. I mean, that's at least a cup of it so far.
right. So I always think to myself, I'm like, okay, you know, what happens like if there's very little water in your area, things like that, like how does that work? How does it function, you know, and how you can utilize what you have, you know, to be able to make this
I guess
work.
if you don't have much water, you're just going to
You pick it.
boil this as a stew, and that's it. You're done.
Well, you have to make the olele and you have to make the akara. So you have to, you know, you soak it overnight, keep it, and then you start taking the skins off. Right. So very good. I'm going to leave it like this. I am going to use the one that I already have pre-done. And I will come back to this one as well because I don't waste anything.
Now in Africa, can you get the beans already as like that paste you have there, like with the or
In Sierra Leone, mostly you get the beans without the skins on, that you can buy that in the market, right?
so they're wetting it, taking the skins off, and then drying it again?
And then pretty much, or
Okay.
it's not even like really dried per se, but you can go into the market like daily and be like, can I please have it without the skins, kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's constantly being made, right? So that people always have access, especially if it's a Friday event. If you're having like a wedding or I'll say a funeral, not necessarily a wedding, but if you're having a funeral, then you buy it in bulk. The one without the skins on. Otherwise, it takes very, very long. Okay, I'm almost done with this one. So I am going to start with the blending.
Yeah, when I feel it like this, it still has like a crunch to it.
Yeah,
So,
it's not bad with the crunch. It's still there's still a crunch to it, yeah, but it should be breaking apart quite easily with, you know, when you rub it with your fingers,
yeah, it does.
you know. So if you do that, it should just break apart. You see that?
I definitely.
So yeah, it's at least 12 hours, I would say. at least. But you want to do it, I say overnight, but I guess it's 24 hours.
Would soaking with hot water to start with help?
I don't recommend soaking it with hot water because it'll start the
Start to
cooking
cook, it'll
process.
cook the beans, it'll start cooking the beans.
Yes, and you want it fresh, kind of.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So let me put this
Every
one
time I
away.
think I'm done, I scoop a little more, and there's like
It's on the bottom. You'll see it on the bottom. You know, you're like, oh, where did that come from? You know? And then, yeah. So what do we do first and foremost? So we're going to do, I'm going to blend for both the, I'm going to blend for both the Akara and for the Olele simultaneously, as I mentioned. And so the way I'm going to do it is I'll be making 4 cups and whoopsie, sorry. I'm going to be doing 4 cups of the black-eyed peas. I'm going to do 1 large onion and 1 large chili or 2 chilies, depending on how spicy you would like to have it done. And I'm going to blend all of that now. And so I'm going to see how much I can put in my blender to see
yeah,
how
that's
much I
like
can
2 cups of the skins. I mean, it just keeps
Yeah,
coming.
it just keeps coming. It's the skins are wild, you know. So when you blend it and you scoop it off, you know, and you pour it out, you know, if you pour it out, let's see.
I feel like if I fluff it up to the surface, and then before the skins will sink down, but if you a little slower, then look at that.
Yeah. Look at how much is coming off. That's wild. Yeah.
Yep. Think I found a new way to do it, huh?
There you go.
Fluff it up, and then the beans soak before the skins.
Yeah.
All right. We're ready to do the next. I think so. But except I have to cut an onion.
So the other beans that I have soaking, I'm gonna make some beans this week with that. You can freeze the beans, by the way, just so that you know that. When you've soaked it and everything, you can freeze it and keep it for the next time you want to prepare and cook. All
But
right,
you said in Africa it's almost always fresh. You wouldn't
it is.
get it frozen. But we tend to freeze a lot of stuff in the US
Yes.
that people are like, why would we do that? We can just do it fresh. But we have a culture of freezing stuff.
We have some challenges in Sierra Leone, I'd say, especially with electricity, you know, so you have to have a lot of generators and things like that. So sometimes it's a lot easier to just to get things freshly done so that you're preparing things daily as opposed to using a freezer, you know, to freeze things for a long period of time.
Good habit anyway. So
Yeah, then it's like
all
you're
right.
looking fresh, you know, which is wonderful. So, all right. So my overnight soaked beans, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to strain it, and I'm gonna get my strainer. So I don't know if you all can see me or not. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna just strain it. If I see any black-eyed pea, you know, that I need to take the eyes off, I just do that. Remove them as they're coming through. Okay. All right. You can take that away. And just kind of do that. All right. I'm going to empty out this water. Hold on.
Now I'm obsessed. Now
Hold
I'm
on.
obsessed with trying to
Hold
get
on.
this. There's always more.
I'm sorry. My son came running out. He was like crying, and I didn't know what was going on. But he's fine. I think he was like on the bed doing something he should not have been doing, and he's like he fell,
I'm
and he's not anything like that. So
I'm
he's
obsessed with the skins now. I keep trying to. There's keep
to
finding
get as
another one.
much out as possible.
Well, you cannot. There's obviously still some in here because you can see the black spots,
Right.
right? Because in the end, it should have no black spots if it's completely skinned, right? But
So I'm going to put this in my food processor, and I'm going to put, so this was one
reset.
bag, one bag. So if you've got two bags, just enter about half a bag in there, and then you start blending. So when I start blending, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to hear me.
But you said one onion too, yeah?
Yes, well, not yet. You're going to
Oh.
blend this first as much as possible, and then you're going to chop up one onion and dice it up relatively small, and then you'll add it to it. I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because you're going to be chopping, but you're going to do it rough chop, right? So you can do that. So I'm going to go ahead and blend.
Let's see, blender. Now's where it gets quiet because when the machines run. Huh. Let's see.
Okay, now I'm gonna scrape the sides and make sure that those get blended as well, or chopped and diced and all that good stuff. And the reason I'm doing it this way first is because, again, the Akara should not have a lot of water in it, right? So I'm trying to do as much of the chopping and blending as possible before I put it in the blender, so that it doesn't require a lot of fluid.
So you're trying to keep it as dry as possible?
So, sorry, say that again?
Are you trying to keep it as dry as possible?
Yes, for the Akara, yes. So I'm doing it for both right now, and then later on I'll add the water to the Olele.
So it looks just like a paste now.
Okay,
It basically looks like a paste now.
yes. And when it gets too pasty, we definitely want to add water to that, right? But right now, let's not do that until after we've done what needs to happen there. So if it's a paste, we will now add the onion, okay? So we're going to do half an onion to this half mixture here. We're going to do a rough chop for the onion.
An onion. This is ultimately this doesn't have tons of flavor added to it.
No, you put the salt. The thing with the salt though, is like you have to do the salt to taste. It's a strange thing because I'm like, if you can't taste the salt a little bit, then when you fry it, for some reason, it just is really quite bland. Now, if you remember remember the last time when we met, I made like a pepper stew, like a pepper sauce.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you can actually eat this with the pepper sauce.
I think I ate everything with that pepper sauce for like a week. It was so good. Because did my usual where I make tons of something.
Oh, there we go. So that's kind of how, like, if you have the pepper sauce at home, you'll always use it, and you eat these little snack things with it as well. Or because the one I'm making right now is going to be oil based, not palm oil, but I do have palm oil as well, and I'll show that to you.
I think the only time I've used palm oil is we made a Brazilian dish that it was like this orange palm oil.
Say that again?
I think the only time I used palm oil is we did this Brazilian dish and it had an orange palm oil.
Oh yeah. So we use red palm oil.
Oh,
So
that's what it was. Yeah.
yeah. So it does come out a bit orange, and you can fry things in it, or you can make olele with the red palm oil as well. So
This is a little hard for me to do this without adding moisture to it.
moisture, add a tablespoon at a time so you don't overwater it.
Okay.
And remember, you didn't soak yours as long either, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So you definitely are going to need to have some kind of water in there.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, it should be a batter, like a thick batter consistency, kind of like a thickened pancake, like American pancake mix again. So add a couple of tablespoons of water here and there, add some, water, and then that way it will, you'll get to the consistency that you're looking for.
All right. I feel like I'm accomplishing something because this is.
Say that again. You're
Oh, I
accomplishing.
feel like I'm actually accomplishing it.
Okay. So how's everybody's cooking coming along?
I think it's almost done. Now that I added water to it.
I ran out of time to buy and soak the beans, so I'm just cooking along with all y'all. I'm making something totally different.
No worries.
Hey, wait
But
a
I would
second.
prob-
That's a
but I can always
usual
take the-
thing. Don't act
I know,
like
but this is totally different. Kind of.
Well, the good thing is, when we did the pulsing, like to remove the skins,
Mhm.
then you can start doing it, and then you can just add water to it, right?
Mhm.
And so you can be adding water while you're blending it, because you need it to end up being like a consistency that works, which is like a batter. So I'll do that. Okay.
I think mine's done. I'm stirring it, see if there's any onion chunks still, but I don't. It looks like it's all blended in well. I did add probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 tablespoons of water one at a time.
Okay, perfect.
I was just like, this is not working without water.
Yes, and that's if you need to, because of how hard the beans are, right? Then that's important to make sure that you get to a consistency that is like a thickened batter. Okay.
All right. Do I need to start heating up a pan of oil? Because it takes a long time to get hot for me. Well, I don't know, actually.
Okay. So I am going to transfer this to my blender. I know you've been using a blender.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm going to transfer mine to my blender now. And then that way, for the olele, we can get to a consistency that works. And then for the akara.
So how did they do this before blenders? Did they just have to like a mortar and pestle forever?
Pretty much you grind it. we use a grinding stone. So you grind, you pound it, with a mortar and pestle, but then you also grind the beans so that it's a smooth paste. I use my fingers a lot, as you can tell, to move things. Okay. Move that in there. And then what else? Okay.
Now you said put salt and pepper in it now before we cook it.
Yes, so you will need to, now that it's like this, okay, you're going to add your salt and a pepper, and you're going to beat it with a wooden spoon. So, but not right for this one. I'm going to make another batch because I want to make sure that I have the batch for the Akara and the batch for the Akara and the batch for the Olele. Okay, so I'm going to make the Olele batch first, and then now I'm making the Akara batch, the second Akara. So get the beans, the rest of the beans that we need.
And what's really the difference between the two?
One's going to have fish and one's going to have more fluid. One will have oil, the other one will not.
Okay.
So one is fried and the other one is steamed. The one that's steamed has more fluid and it has more oil and it has more, meaning that is part of it, right? As opposed to the Akara. The Akara is a little bit drier.
I'm interested to see the difference.
Well, I don't know if people have steamers. Do any of you have steamers, or do you have a place where you can steam? Because we're going to also do a steaming activity and steaming exercise.
I don't, but
Well, have you made turkey before? Do
just
you have a
like,
turkey pan?
yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I'm asking about that is because some people, you can use your turkey pan as a steamer.
I do have a steam basket for the pressure cooker. So
Oh, okay. And if you have a steam basket, that works as well. So a couple of different ways of steaming. And if you have like a little steaming situation, we can do it in several different ways. So if you have a steam basket, we need foil, or we can use you can use cupcake tins and do a steaming bath with that. All right. So I'm pulsing again so I can get the second one out of the way. Yeah, happening.
I'm trying to.
My onion.
This is pretty thick, so it's taking me a second to get out. So this one, the second one has onion too. Well, anyway, I'll pulse it first for just the beans. All right. This time we'll put the water in the bottom beforehand, so it'll be a little easier. So.
So just be blending and blending away.
The second one has onions in it too, right?
Say that again?
The second one has onions in it also.
It does. Yes, it does. So we're just doing the exact same thing like we did before.
But we're doing. Are we doing 3 recipes? So we have to.
2.
Okay, so I'm just divide my beans in half, right?
Exactly. Once you blended everything together, divide it in half.
Oh, I guess it all could go in the same bowl right now.
Yes, and that's fine. Just put everything in the same bowl, just combine them, and then we're going to remove 2 cups of that, and we're going to add, and we're going to do some additional things. So this is what takes forever. Sorry, say that again. That's all right. This is what takes forever, the blending.
Knife. Still have one more batch, so don't put all the onions in. So mine still has little specks of black in it because I did see. If you look,
Okay.
probably got 75% of the skins, but there's still.
And so just add a little bit of water to it.
Post it and. But yeah, definitely need to soak it longer than I did.
Yeah.
'Cause- Mhm.
So just wanted to show you what let's see what that looks like. So
I
it's
mean, it looks like you said like a corn masa,
yes, very similar to corn
like
masa.
tamales, yeah,
Mhm.
like that texture.
I was very surprised when I first saw tamales. I was like, oh, this is like a kind of like like an olele, because they put it in the husks, right, of the corn. And if you're in Sierra Leone, ideally, you want to put it in banana leaves.
Okay. So it's
Right.
a bean tamale,
It's a bean tamale.
but so you put it into you basically just like tamales, you make individual servings and banana leaves before you steam it.
Exactly. So we're going to use foil, which provides the same thing. Or instead of foil, you can also just use baking pans and just have to use it as a steamer, similar to if you're making like a steamed dessert.
Now you're making me think whether I can make tamales in foil.
It's possible, I would think. Why
So,
not? It's
in
the same concept.
Yep. So I don't know. I always like coming up with new and
Did I
different.
get?
So that's my question here. You're basically only putting in onion, little chili pepper, and some black pepper and salt.
Yes.
What
And
are other common spice variations?
Well, that's it. And in
Oh,
fact, you don't even have to put black pepper in it right now because you don't want to put black pepper in your olele, right?
got it. So one of them has black pepper and one doesn't.
Right. And some people don't even put black pepper in it at all. Some
And
people
then one of them has fish, but you said sometimes will they do other flavors or like, oh, I know, the powdered shrimp flavor.
and that's optional. Traditionally, people do not put the powdered shrimp in the akara. Do you know what I mean? But I like the flavor. I tasted it once and I'm like, oh, I really like this flavor. So I use it in almost everything. But because it gives it like an umami flavor. The but then you don't traditionally you don't have to, but then you can if you want to, right? So
I learned from my friends in Thailand, you get the powdered shrimp and you put it in a bag and then you put it in another bag and then you put it in the freezer. Because if you've ever smelled this, it is like rotten shrimp is what it smells like to me.
it's very pungent. Yes.
And I literally smell it, even though it's starting to thaw out and it's
Uh-huh.
in a double bag and I'm starting to smell it now. So
There you go. And then you add if you're going to add eat it with pepper, the pepper stew, the pepper sauce, then that gives it a different flavor as well. But because it's like an outdoor it's a celebration of life type of food, it's quite basic. If you notice, so it's just salt really, is the flavoring.
I found out with the dry, hope you're not seeing it on the camera, but that if I put the I don't know, quarter cup of water and the onion first and then put the beans on the top, it blends much
It's
easier.
easier. That's, so you know your blenders and your, like the things that you're working with, right? So that works well.
I mean, this is a ridiculously. I got this at an auction from a smoothie shop, and it's like, I forget. It's like, well, I mean, it's a giant motor.
And it just pulses. So much.
Well, if I hit, yeah, I mean, it's got on off button, but it also just has a pulse. There you go. It's been pulsed. Now, so this right here, all I have in it is onion, and that's it.
All right. Onion and perfect. Now. Okay. Now that we have everything blended and it's thick, and it works out well, like you don't want to over water, that's the problem, you know, so, but you
I
definitely
think
want
that
to,
last batch I overwatered, but luckily the two batches.
the other one is not over watered, so you just mix it up together. You're going to do 2 cups, and you're going to take 2 cups and, you're going to put 2 cups in. I'm going to put 2 cups in my blender because I have to get it even more blended. Yours seems more blended than mine is.
Okay. So 2 cups for, let's see. I think this, yeah, this whole thing's 2 cups. I think that's too much. Let's see here. 2 cups. So, oh, I guess she's blending.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh, yours has no black specks in it at all, or you still have some?
I have a couple of black specks. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Um,
the reason I ask is I feel really guilty because I mean, there's still a decent amount in there. It's just like, but I feel like I upped it to like
that's
8.
fine, you know. But the good thing is now you know. The good thing is now you know how to do it though, right?
Yeah.
So that if you had time, if you have an hour to do it, then you can remove it, you know. But if you don't have that kind of time, there's no way. There's absolutely no. It's gonna take time to work with it. But I have seen in the stores where you actually have the black eyed peas with those skins on, and I'm like, yeah, we could do that too, if folks would want to. But I wanted to show how it could be done authentically, you know, and from scratch. Okay, so we are done with that. I am going to all right. I'm going to take 2 cups of this paste. And I'm going to put it in my blender.
Oh yeah, we have to blend the fish into it. Yeah.
Oh, you don't blend it, you fold the fish in.
Okay.
You fold
So-
the fish in. But you, whoop, wrong. That doesn't look right.
Do I have to blend it again then?
Yes, because you're gonna add some, you're gonna put about 2 to 4 tablespoons of water. Okay. All right, now we have everything ready for the beans akara. Okay. The blend that you've done is a thickened blend, and that's for your beans akara. But now we're going to do the olele. All right. So what we need is about 4 tablespoons, you know, well, 2 to 4 tablespoons of water to make it kind of like a smooth paste. You also need oil. Okay, we've got about half a cup of oil in here. All right, we're going to use a 1/4 cup to add to the blend. We're also going to add about the 2 to 4 tablespoons of water, depending on how much liquid is already in your container. Okay, so we're going to blend this. Where's my lip? Okay, and okay. I definitely need water in this, so I'm gonna add some
How
water.
liquidy are you trying to get this one?
This is going to be more like a thinner batter, not like a thick pancake batter, but a thinner one that you can pour, like a pourable batter.
Okay.
Where is my?
Well, it will be that way with all that oil.
Yes, and then you're gonna add some oil to it. So you're gonna do about 1/4 cup of the oil. So I asked you to use 1/2 cup of oil, so all you need though is half of that 1/2 cup because you're gonna do something else with the other half of it.
Better not use it all, because that's all the oil I have. I could have sworn. Where's
My blender, I say this every time, maybe this will be a Christmas present to myself. I need a new blender.
so we have just a little bit of water, a 1/4 cup of oil. And then what else in there?
Yes, and then you put it in a bowl, you add salt, and you work the fish in. Okay. Definitely need some more water. And oil.
And do you have a preferred type of fish or any kind?
I like smoked croaker or smoked
So kind of like the darker the taste of the fish or the more umami, the better.
yes, I like very fishy fish, I also like smoked herrings and things like that.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah, in
Yeah.
my area, we can get mackerel pretty cheap.
yes, okay, that would work as well, very well.
Now, what do you call it? Are you doing canned or you actually cook it? Let's see. I'm doing canned. I said, put the juice in or not? What do you think? Where's my masher? Here's my masher.
Okay.
Um,
Alright,
if I'm
yes.
doing a can of fish, you think I should put the water in too?
It depends on how thin it is. Like no, take the water out. I'll say drain the water.
Well, mine's pretty thin already, so,
Okay.
but
So if it's in, yeah, so definitely drain the water.
I could have put the water in and the fish water in the blender instead of tap water.
All right. This is now, we're going to be working on the olele first, is my recommendation. And then we can fry the akara. Okay, so all right. So this is very thick. I'm gonna have to add some water to it. Okay. This is for the olele. This is what we're working on right now. Okay.
Yeah, in America, anytime you get something, oh, this is too thin, just add some flour to it.
No, it will be gummy.
Yeah, just like,
Okay. So now,
oh wait, let's see. You said no pepper in this one, or
you can add pepper. You can add pepper to both of them. Oh no, not black pepper. No black pepper in this one.
okay. And this is the fish one is the one I add a little shrimp powder in, right?
You can add shrimp powder to both of them. It doesn't matter which one. If you want, if you like that flavor, you for
Oh
sure.
man, that's so poignant.
So add salts to
Oh.
taste. You want to mix it up. Add salt, add salt, add salt. Mix this up, mix
Don't
it
want
up.
fingers tasting like or smelling like shrimp. When you do take it out, I recommend wearing some gloves.
I think that's a great idea.
It is. Ground shrimp powder is literally just smoked and dried shrimp. So
Well, I would say
oh,
just
this is from Gambia. This one.
yes. Okay. So for the yeah, for all of that, use your smoky fish. You know, so I've got my smoky fish here. I'm gonna add it to it. And I'm gonna fold it in, like stir it in. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do some steaming. Okay. So one of the things that I would like for folks to do, if you have foil, you can do 12 inches by 8 to 10 inches of foil. You have it. You're going to put some oil on it, a little bit of oil so that it doesn't stick as much. So just have some foil, put some oil on here. Okay, you're gonna fold it in half.
So, oh, did you say put oil on it or not yet?
Yeah, just brush some oil on it, like a little bit of oil, just brush on it. You fold it in half. You're gonna make pockets. You're gonna make some pockets. All right. And so you fold it in half, and then on the sides, you roll it. Roll it a few times, like maybe 2 or 3 times. On one side, after you fold it in half, you do the side. You do the other side. Yes. So fold it in half.
Okay.
Okay. And then on one side, this one open side, go ahead and fold in small little folds and do like 2 or 3 times. Yep. Okay, because you're trying to make a pocket, and then do the same thing on the other side.
So you're trying to make just a pocket like this, yeah?
Exactly. And then you're going to scoop. You're going to scoop some into it.
The fish one.
The fish one, exactly.
When you say some, not all of this.
Uh-huh. No, I'm doing like about 1 big tablespoon.
Just a tablespoon.
Like, or it's like, okay, do 2 of those.
Right.
And pour it in there. Okay. I'm trying to think. If your pockets are big, you can put a 3rd spoon in there. Okay.
Are you gonna do we squish it flat or try to make a ball?
No, try to make a ball, and then you're going to roll the top, right? And leave some, so there's supposed to be some air in there. So don't squish it flat. Yeah, just like that. And then just roll the top to close it up. Okay. And put it to the side. And do that a couple of times. Get another one. Get a again and fold it in half.
Except I tore that one, but it might work.
Okay.
But I need to oil it.
But you put the oil on it first. Now, what's also quite nice is that before you seal it, you may put a dollop of oil on top as well. That's what my mom used to do. And so I will continue to do that, I guess, I don't know.
But I mean, in the case of mine, there's like air all over the whole top. But I guess if you put a dollop of oil, it soaks around the whole thing.
Yes. Maybe that's, and maybe not stick as much. Okay.
Yeah, this one's a cute little small one because I had a small piece of foil.
And so you know, depending on how big your foil packets are. I'm gonna do one, I'm gonna do two, and maybe a little bit. Okay. And so you can probably do like 4 or 5 of these little ones, of these steam things. But if you're using a pan, like a cake muffin pan,
Yep.
you're gonna do that, then you just oil the muffin pan like you'll be baking and put halfway in there in the muffin pan and then cover it with foil or like the plastic first and then the foil and put it in the steam bath and you can either do it in the oven or you can do it on the stovetop depending on how you want to do the steam bath, right? If you're doing it on top of the oven, then you could on top of the stove, then you can cover it with a plastic wrap first and then put the foil on top. If you're putting it in the oven, I would just use the foil and cover and steam it as you would regularly steam. So
I'm wondering if you could just put this in the oven and just bake it without steam, because the moisture is not getting to it. But
if
what
you
is
could just
this?
bake it, I would definitely cover it before you bake it.
Yeah, because the water probably spreads the temperature out better.
Yeah.
But well, every one of my foil things are a different size and shape.
And that's fine. I know. It's just how much you peel, like how much you take out, like cut, you know, how many you
All right,
work.
I'm getting a little better at it. Here we go. Try to make them square.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I wasn't so picky.
I'm gonna make I think I'll make 5 out of these. The one that I just did.
Let's see.
All right.
I think I can do one more. I think that'll end up being 6.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. I think
And how long do you think you steam it for?
about 20 minutes. For it.
I mean, what black eyed peas normally boil in like 15?
Yeah.
If you're
So
like
I mean,
cooking on
it's
the
like
stovetop?
I would give it like I'll probably give it like 20 to 30 minutes. It didn't take too long. I'll say that 20 to 30 minutes, and so it'll be way past our time, unfortunately. I'm trying to be adventurous here. I was like, if I'm doing one, I have to do the other, you know?
Well, I mean, it seems like, you normally make both of these at the same time.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're just making 2 versions of the same thing. You make your base,
Right.
and you said one is steamed and one is fried.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, have you done the so the steamed one you put fish in, have you put the fish in the fried one?
Wait, say that again. Say that I do not add the fish to the fried ones. No.
Okay. But you said you
So the-
have added the shrimp, powdered shrimp in both of them.
Yes, I've added the powdered shrimp. I have not tried the powdered shrimp in the olele. I have tried the powdered shrimp in the fried one. However, if the powdered shrimp is smoked, it should work very well because it is smoked. So
Yeah, this one I got. Where did I get this? I think I got it. I think I got it at a store in Nashville,
All right.
Tennessee. And it says it's from Gambia.
and they make, ooh, that sounds delicious. So
Right.
I would definitely work with that.
It's definitely a different, like I've had a lot of the Thai shrimp ones.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes, you definitely want to use like, it's a different flavor, right? So
definitely a
I
different.
get mine from like Ghana, like the Ghanaian type. Very, very good. Because they use it in their pepper sauce. And Gambia probably has a very good flavor with that as well. So just to kind of show you, you'll notice that there may be some seeping happening of the foil. Make sure you roll it up so that it can be so that it does not seep
Make sure it's
tight. So sometimes like I'll go and roll back up the bottom if I have not done a good job rolling the first time. And
yeah,
roll,
this like now that you mentioned it, one of them had a little seep in the corner.
yeah. So just kind of fold it up, and make sure that it's not. And then you can start putting your hot water to boil so that you can start your steamer. And for your steamer, like try to spread it out a little bit so that they can each steam individually. And if not, put them in the little pan, the little muffin tins.
I started heating up my oil because it takes forever for me. I never feel like I get it hot.
Yes, and so start heating up your oil because the other one will start working very well. You can start with that. I'm putting my
There it is.
now you can start whisking or beating your other mixture, the Akara mixture. Okay. If you think it's too thick, like this is a little thick, I'm going to add a bit of water to it, just a bit, but I don't want it liquid.
How are you how are you steaming yours?
I'm using my steamer.
Oh, you have like a special.
It's a double steamer.
There you go. It's like a double boil steamer, just stove top.
Exactly. So I'm going to put it up here. When we were younger, we had a like a steam basket, and we would put the steam basket upside down in a big pot, and then we would put it on top so that it didn't connect to the water. And so I was like, when I get older, I'm gonna get a steam basket. That was my thing, because I'm like, I'm making all of that.
There you go. All right.
Right. Now, go ahead and start heating up your oil for your you need enough oil to be able to cover. Very similar to the Akara. Okay. The other Akara. This is beans Akara.
This is. Do you have a preferred type of oil, or does it?
I use canola oil, but you can use peanut oil, like groundnut oil, peanut oil, and but you definitely don't want to use olive oil or anything like that because it will just
High, high temperature.
exactly.
Do you know what temperature you're putting it at?
I
have this induction burner. I can set the temperature.
So if you're doing it in the oven, if you're doing the olele in the oven, oh, you've got an induction stovetop. Okay.
Correct.
So I'd wait until the oil starts to you want it to fry quite you want it to kind of
Because let's see, the default setting is 300, but
okay, do 350 then. Okay. It looks like my water is steaming. All right. Let me get my oleles in.
Fred will be happy I put mine in the Instapot on the steam function.
Oh, look at that. Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Like if you have an Instapot or you have a like one of those cookers, like pressure cookers that cook also, and they do steaming, those work really, really well.
Yeah, mine came with a steam basket that I almost never use except to make like Chinese, like if I buy pre-made Chinese dumplings, I'll put them in there and steam them.
And steam them. It's a most, it's fascinating. I love that. It's the first time I saw the Instapot doing all of that, I was like, oh, this is great. You don't have to worry about it, but I already had my steamer. So I was like, okay.
Well,
So-
I mean, part of it is I've been trying to figure out. So I love cooking on gas. I grew up cooking on gas. Gas is my preferred,
Yes.
but I live off grid. My house is solar powered. Gas costs money, so I've been trying to figure out how to switch over to use more electrical stuff.
Okay.
And since I got the induction burner, you can see underneath it. This right here is actually underneath this is the gas stove that it's almost been a year since I've used I use the oven underneath, but
Oh, really? Wow. Oh,
that I absolutely love how precise the induction is. So, all right.
so one of the things I do recommend for your olele, for your akara as you're cooking that, whisk it. Not whisk it, but like mix
Fluff
it.
Fluff it up.
Yeah, so you mix it with a wooden spoon, with a spatula. Just make sure you mix it because you want to incorporate air into it to make it fluffy.
And it's interesting as it sets, a little bit of moisture was pooling around the edges.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that all of that has been incorporated.
I was thinking the exact opposite if there was moisture to take it away.
No. Well, it depends on how much moisture. Can I see your consistency? Like pick it up with a spoon and drop it. Oh, good. Okay, that's actually not bad at all. So here we have.
I mean, you didn't comment on how the black specks are, but
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, don't worry about the black specks. It may be a little bit rougher than what you would like for it to have happen. Because as I mentioned, like you try to do it as smooth as you possibly can. When you feel it, it should feel relatively smooth in your fingers, right? So, but
yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I thought it would have more grit to it, but it doesn't.
That it's smoother, yeah. So that's why I'm like, if it's smooth, that's what you're looking for, like a nice smooth texture.
All right. Now this is probably a similar drop it in like we did at that last
Exactly.
where everybody was laughing at me because I was having a hard time figuring out how to drop those banana.
The banana akaras, yeah.
Oh, I still have a quarter cup of oil. What was that for?
My mom, as I was mentioning, my mom used to put the oil on the top of her oleles,
Oh, okay, yeah.
And
I guess I can just pour it in the fryer, right?
Say that again.
I don't for anything. I can just use it for frying now. Then.
Yes, you can use it for frying. Yep, exactly.
So I remember we saved this oil, and I was like, "What do we save it for?"
And I forgot to tell folks to put the oil in there.
Well, you did say it, but I never did it.
I didn't incorporate mine either. A lot of people don't necessarily do that, If you're going to do palm oil, then we'll be frying in palm oil the akara. We would be adding the palm oil to the olele, and you'll be adding all that oil. You know, so like when I said half a cup of oil, for the olele, you'll be adding literally all that oil in there. You know, you may even want to add like a cup of oil. So
All right.
my thing just takes forever to heat. So I'm just gonna let it heat up, heat up, heat up. My olele is already steaming, and it will steam for the next 15 or so minutes. Until it gets firm.
And you say typically you serve this, or not typically, but you like to serve it with that pepper sauce we made
I
on the
do.
last show.
Yes. So if I'm making oil olele, then I mean, if I'm making oil Binch akara, then I would have a pepper sauce that I would eat it with. And then I can eat it. And sometimes it sounds quite interesting, but some people eat it like as a snack. So or like as a sandwich. It's beans, so it's high protein, and you have the pepper sauce, and you put it in the bread, and you add it together, and you eat it. I like it. Some people may be like, I don't know if I want to eat that, but I like it with like a loaf. And I would eat that in there. Sometimes people have like an oyster stew that they may make. I'm not a fan of like oyster cockles, so I would not. But it also works well together. So I don't think my oil is ready yet.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, you want it super hot.
I want it hot. Yeah.
I actually think I need to add a little more oil because it needs. I put one in to try it, and it's not quite covering it.
Oh, it doesn't have to completely. I mean, the amount of oil you have is plenty.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's-
it's plenty because you'll flip it over halfway through.
let's see.
Okay.
What would be the preferred thing to flip it over with?
I would use a slotted spoon or
How about that one?
yeah, that's fine. That works.
And then I need a plate to set it out.
Yes, and with the plate, you could also put like you would also put paper towel to absorb the oil.
I always thought it should be a habit instead of putting a paper towel, put a bed of rice.
Oh,
So you're not wasting the oil.
that is true.
I don't know. Part of it is like a lot of times I forget that I don't have a paper towel and I have rice.
And that would work. In fact, I need to make rice for today. So because I will be cooking beans later on today.
When you say that, so you're just gonna cook these black-eyed peas just like as a soup.
Yes, like as a very much a thickened type of soup. Yep, I'll be making that. And usually like I would have made it on a Friday or a Thursday night for Friday. Which would have worked really well.
So I grew up, we called them bean dumplings, and we would boil them. So you do similar to this, but with like kidney beans but we boil them. So it's like a Native American dish.
Oh, nice.
And so you just make a ball like this, but you'd, drop it in a soup.
The beans?
A bean dumpling.
The bean dumpling. Well, the akara is kind of like a bean dumpling.
Right. So instead of frying it like this, we would make
You put it in.
just like this. Is what do they call it? Spoon drop dumplings. So you just scoop it,
Yes.
dump it in boiling hot water.
Okay. Okay, so I'm putting mine on medium heat because I'm using an electrical stove.
Well, I put it as high as it went, and it was 460, and I feel that's a little too high, so I lowered it to 400.
Okay, put it to 350.
Okay.
For sure. Because you want it to cook in the inside, even though you want it brown on the outside. Okay. So I am going to flip it over.
Okay.
Because mine was a little hotter than I was expecting. But can you see it frying? No.
But I'm excited.
Well, I'm hoping that folks are going to enjoy it. It's very simple. It's not a, you know, it's a simple dish, but it's flavorful. One of the things that I was mentioning earlier, but I didn't mention, but I want to share now, is that you can make it completely vegan if you want to, or you can make it pescatarian if you want to. So it's available to people who also may be gluten intolerant as well. It's got high fiber, it's got lots of protein. It's a really all-round very good dish.
Next thing you're going to tell me it's healthy, and that's just going to ruin the whole thing.
Well, not in the fried oil.
It's just like it's super healthy, but I mean,
then you're like, no.
I mean, in America we fry cheese, so I mean, this is a lot better than that.
Yes, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's super healthy because yeah, it's like there's a lot of oil. So 350. How's the cooking going?
I had to raise it up.
You did. Oh, sorry. I can't tell with the temperature, internal temperature
Yeah.
element. It should feel like a little crispy on the outside.
Well, I mean, when I had it at 350, it was just barely boiling.
No, okay.
Now
So
it's like
it would be ideal.
a serious simmer.
Oh, no. Yeah, you want it to fry. Like you would
So,
fry.
yeah, I mean, here's my first one actually.
Okay. Okay. Now you see, because of the black eyed peas, it comes out a little bit it's not like a golden brown, right? It's more you can see the black eye, you know,
yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit of, I don't know, like black streaks in it almost.
yeah.
Yep, let me get some paper towels. Oh, you got an idea. Bit of paper towels. I'm gonna put a layer of greens. These are
It was very impressive I mean, not impressive, when I learned about tamales, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so similar in concept.
but I mean, part of it is using what's readily available, what's readily available in your area, right?
Right.
I think, isn't corn an America's food?
Yeah, like a new world.
Yeah, New World food.
Mm.
But I mean, even then, still incorporated that into traditional food, right? I mean, cornbread.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does Africa have much cornbread?
We have some, okay, so like in we do, but not corn. It's kind of interesting. When we lived in Kenya, there was maize, right? And so they would make like an ugali out of maize, which is a type of I guess another kind of a dumpling concept, but also like a fufu concept. And that's made out of corn. And then also there'll be porridge and things like that made out of or maize rather. There'll be porridges and things like that made out of maize. So cornbread is not something that I'm familiar with back home.
Well, that's
But
so similar to the bean dumplings. We had corn dumplings where you just mixed it together and then dropped it in boiling water.
love
Uh,
that. Yes. Okay.
That's like a Native American thing, I think, too. But
And I'm trying to
so I had some steamed greens.
yeah.
So I put that on the bottom of the plate, and that's soaking up my oil.
That's perfect.
So all right, my first batch is, I don't know for sure.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's golden on the outside, but whether it cooked all the way through to the center, I might be cooking it too quick here.
No, you did your first batch before I did mine. So this is what it looks like mine does.
Yep.
Um,
So
and
that's
then if we open it up,
I'm gonna taste it. Oh,
it should be fluffy.
What does it taste like?
it's hard to describe. I mean, it's really, really fluffy. And I mean, we tend to usually when you have black eyed peas, tend to over flavor them. So I honestly don't know what black eyed peas taste like now that I think about it. But
So one of the things that that we always have to remember is to salt it. And like I undersalted this, so it's like 1 teaspoon, but depending on what kind of salt, like you always go, did I put too much salt? I did not put enough. It's one of those dishes where it's like, for some reason, you have to add the salt. But there's no additional, it's just a basic dish. But if you think about I don't know, like if you think about funeral food, I guess, or foods that you would have at funerals or celebrations of celebration of life, it doesn't have a lot of flavor. Like it's the only flavor that you'll probably get a lot of is from the beans itself. So what's fascinating is when we're cooking, we cook it on Thursday night for the beans itself. And if we're boiling the beans, we wouldn't even add salt or anything like that to it. You'll boil it, well, you'll add salt, and that's pretty much it. And then you'll leave it out overnight for the ancestors, right? With like a cup of water for them to partake or whatever, to say, we're giving thanks to our ancestors, and for our ancestors to be part of the celebration as well. And then the next day is when you add like the palm oil and things like that to it, So it's there's a lot of reverence, I guess, with cooking beans. So it's all part and parcel of it. But this is why, like, usually I cook it on a Thursday for Friday. And if New Year's Eve happens to be on a Friday, then it's like a double, it's like, okay, then you get to cook it and you make your beans and all that good stuff. It's a lovely, I enjoy it as a celebration.
So,
So-
Chef Fernanda, when yours cools down enough, please tell us how yours tastes. Because Chef,
So
or is it saying much about the flavor?
that's because I'm eating. This is my third one already.
Well, tell us what it's
Okay,
like. Is it
so-
crispy? Is it
it's
soft?
crispy.
So the
So it's
outside,
crispy.
the outside is crispy and the inside is soft. It really makes me think of a hush puppy.
Is it savory? Is it
Except-
spicy?
Except hush puppy has a more gritty texture.
Is it like falafel?
No, falafel is too grit. It's very gritty.
Yeah. This right here
it's
is
very
if you ever
smooth.
had fine ground corn for hash browns. It has,
Start drinking more.
but the taste for me is similar because, I mean, a hush puppy is ground corn and onions. But
And ground beans and onion.
yeah,
So it's same concept. So it's crunchy on the outside, and it's very soft and fluffy on the inside.
very fluffy.
Oh, what a cute baby. And then yeah, so so then, but the flavor, like all you'll taste in it is salt. If you add pepper to it, which will be great, like then you'll get like a tang, like a little taste of the pepper. So we like to add like 1 pepper in it. This time round, I did not, because again, my son, he's like, he does not eat spicy food, is what he's told me. And so he was like, please don't make it spicy. He's like, we're not in Sierra Leone, so please don't make it spicy for me. So I'm like, okay, no worries. So today it's not spicy at all, but I am going to make myself a pepper sauce with onion and pepper and oil and the dried shrimp, and I will be eating it with that. So
But you said
then
what it isn't. What is it? What is it like? What can we, you know?
it is beans, onion, fried.
No, the flavor. What's it like? Is
Well,
it
that's
like
the
a
thing
burrito?
is, Howard, there's like next to no flavor.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's really just a texture thing. It's got a crunchy
like bread.
outside and a soft inside. With it really is being elusive to me. Like I'm trying to come
Is
up.
it like a loaf of French bread? Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside, no flavor.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
let's put it that way. But the crunch on the outside is not, that's too hard on French bread. This one is more like a hush puppy type of outside crunch.
Yeah.
And it is more like a, and then inside, mouthfeel is, oh boy. So mouthfeel is fluffy, like bread.
I got it. If you get grits and you deep fried grits, this is what it would taste like with no flavor in it at all.
Uh-huh.
Because I've done that before. We'd get grits and you'd like deep fry sections of it. But
Mhm. And so you've got to add the salt to it. So this one, the one that I made, I could have added a little bit more salt to it because I like mine. You want to be able to taste the salt.
oops.
And so when I had it the first time, I was like, I added more salt, but I could have added more salt, is what I'm trying to say. If you have pepper, you can add, having the whole pepper will give it a pepper tang, like explosion. So then you get the pepper and the salts together with the beans, and that works. If you have the fish, the dried shrimp, for
Oh,
example.
that's right. I did put a little of that. No, I didn't. In this one, I didn't.
You should definitely add the shrimp to that.
Yeah,
If
I
you
put it in
want
the other one. Let me put
the other
some.
one. Yeah, put the dried shrimp in that, and you will probably get again, I like to put dried shrimp in mine. I love that flavor with the dried shrimp because I think it pulls it all together, you know. But when I eat it with the pepper sauce, that's the flavor that I'm looking for. The salt and the pepper with the bean dish. I think
I absolutely love it, but I didn't put any flavor in it.
So definitely add some of the add something to it, and that would work. I'm looking at my Olele now.
I didn't even add black pepper or salt.
Oh, you didn't?
Mine just had the onion in it. That's probably why I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, you've got to add you've got to season it. So that's the one that you put the salt, the black pepper, and all that kind of stuff. So that would work. So I'm about to open up one of my oleles to see how it's steamed.
You're slow. I already ate 3.
What is it?
I said you're slow. I already ate 3.
Of the olele?
Yeah,
What?
not the steamed ones.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, the steamed one. I'm taking a look.
No.
So
These fried ones, I ate 3 already.
when you feel this, it should feel firm. And
I mean,
it's-
this like really amazes me how fluffy. It literally seems like you put like tons of eggs in it, or
doesn't it though? That's what I'm like, and when you beat it, like, oh, you're beating it with a wooden spoon or a whisk or what have you, and it incorporates the air in it. It's yeah, it works. Hold on, it works really well. Sorry. Okay, let's take a look at this.
all right.
Okay,
Oh, you're taking the steamed ones out already?
I am. I wanted to see how steamed it was, and it was firm, so it's cooked.
All right.
Now, I will say in some communities, people put boiled egg. And in fact, the picture that you provided had one with boiled egg. I'm not a fan of the boiled egg one. So I never put boiled egg in mine.
So you mean a boiled egg right in the center of it?
In the center of it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like either a half boiled egg or a full boiled egg. But I'm not always a fan. So I just I like my steamed fish. Some people put oh goodness, like corned beef in it. Again, I don't eat corned beef, so I would not put mine, I won't put that in there. But looking at the looking at this, I don't know if you can see it. It seems so I've taken it out of the foil packet. And so people get their own individual ones. And I'm gonna try it. It's still hot and steaming. I'll take
Could
some.
you angle your camera down just a little bit?
Oh. Oopsie.
There we go.
Can you see? All
Yes,
right.
thank you.
You're welcome. So this is the I have some with fish on it. I have some, and if you feel it, it's firm, right? It's not it's soft, but it's firm, right? And it's got some fish and it's got some of the steamed olele. So it feels very similar to a tamale, I would say. And then mhm.
Yeah, I could see that if you didn't tell people this was black-eyed peas, they would think it was corn.
Yeah,
In the West, people have had, you know, hash browns or, you know, fried corn pon or something like that.
right. And so it's very similar in consistency, you know. Now I will say I'm really enjoying this. I'm
Yep.
really enjoying this.
Oh my
Only
goodness.
because I really like the flavors of it. It is when you cut it, it's soft, right? But firm, right? And it has the saltiness that I enjoy. I have the smoked fish flavor that I enjoy. And so you get like little bits of the fish in there with every bite. And so some fish pieces that are bigger, some that are smaller. And yeah, and you can, it feels like the oil helped it cook. Would I have added a little bit more oil? I could have, you know. There's also the ability to add palm oil to it. And I would have done that earlier. So after everything had been blended and cooked, I'd have heated up a little bit of palm oil so that it would be liquidy, because palm oil is actually firm. So just to kind of show you what palm oil looks like here. And when you have it, it's firm, like it doesn't pour out.
Oh, so it's not like coconut oil is a temperature. It does that if it's below 78 degrees, coconut oil solidifies.
Exactly, same thing here. So you have to heat it up so that you can get like a liquidy consistency, and then you can add the liquid palm oil to it, right? Because so if I want to get some out, I usually just squeeze it, and I'm going to do that now, just so you have an idea of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm. Well, usually
So,
I wait till the end of the show to eat all of it. I mean, I might taste a little bit, but these are so bite-sized.
okay, this one is super, it's firm. So what I would probably do, what I do is I would leave it somewhere where it's warm. Like I would put it like on top of the the pot or what have you. So it's not on the stove, but it's near something. Or put it in hot water, so that it can kind of like get a little bit of liquidy. Just somewhere warm so that you can get a little bit.
What I do is I put it in a bigger jar.
Yeah.
I will melt it. So like coconut oil,
Mhm.
I put it in a bigger lid so then I could scoop it out.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, these all come in like bottles like this because
Yeah, I mean, coconut oil is pretty common like
Mhm.
that way too.
Yeah.
So
So you transfer it into something else.
So this is my last bottle of coconut oil from the Cayman Islands, and old bottle of rum.
Mhm.
So it's solid. So I have to liquefy it, and then I pour it into a jar with a bigger lid, so then I can scoop it out.
That's really sorry. I'm enjoying this one. I'm enjoying.
All
Um,
right.
I didn't
So
add as much salt to my Akara, and I wish I had added more salt to it. And this
and you
one,
can't just add some now, or it should
yeah,
be,
I'll sprinkle some salt on top, just like you would sprinkle like if you're looking for something to
but it's
eat.
better if it's incorporated.
Exactly.
Okay. Anybody have any final questions? Otherwise, I want to sit down and eat more. Thank you so much for sharing this. So
You're
it's
very
better if give me a second, switch cameras here. Just like,
Hold on.
thank you
Awesome.
so much for sharing this. It's really a simple recipe. I mean, it took some time, but
Yes.
it's especially the peeling of the beans. If you could sit down and be doing that while you're talking to someone else, right? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
it just
It's perfect. It's really one of those things where you just kind of like relax with a lot of our dishes are a lot of just doing things, so like if you're cutting up like greens, you're going to be sitting there for a while and cutting the greens. This you're going to be washing the the beans and removing the skins, and it's going to take an hour, right? So
well, and then you said this is for remembrance time. So when you occupy your body, it's really meditative. I mean, for me, cooking, period, my life is chaos. And when I'm cooking, I have to pay attention. Otherwise, I'm going to burn myself, burn the food, do something. So for
Right.
me, cooking is meditation. And so, I mean, looking back, the day my father died, I actually we had organized a big fundraiser for earthquake relief in Nepal.
Mhm.
And so literally I cooked a bunch of food and raised a whole bunch of money. And that really helped me the day of chaos. So I think, having, especially having a specific kind of food for that time, and people get together and make it and eat it
Yeah,
is very helpful.
it really is.
Yeah. So, all right. Any final words?
Just thank you again for this invitation. This has been really meaningful, I would say.
It's just,
Just because of the type of because of the type of food it was. And I know I'm gonna continue preparing. I'm gonna make my beans, and I'll make that with palm oil. And
when you make just the plain black-eyed peas, like, do you also like canned black-eyed peas? I feel like they're too mushy. When I make them for myself, I make it much more textured.
this is mushy. This one was when I make this black eyed peas, it's cooked down.
Oh, so you make like almost the soup.
Yeah, it's thick, like a very thickened type of soup.
Okay.
You put onions and peppers in it, and you boil it down, and you can still see the individual beans, but it's very, very, very soft, and
Got
it comes together. So I prefer it when it's mushy, so much so that you could probably eat it like a stew over rice.
Mhm.
Right. That kind of texture. But you can eat it by itself. But some people may just add rice, put on top of rice.
Well, as much black eyed peas I eat today, it's in where I grew up, black eyed peas are good luck. So
Well, I wish
I have
you
a lot of luck
plenty.
now.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. This was great.
Okay, let me
Thank
stop.
you.